Hey everyone, if you're working with Kubernetes, you already know that security isn't just some add-on, it's everything. Today, we are going to crack open one of the industry's toughest challenges, the Certified Kubernetes Security Specialist exam, the CKS. So whether you're just thinking about it or you're deep in study mode, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. So here's what we've got lined up. First, we'll break down what makes the CKS exam so different. Then we'll walk through the 6 core areas you absolutely have to know. After that, we're going to get our hands dirty with some real practice questions. And finally, I'll show you the ultimate tool to get you ready for game day. All right, let's kick things off with the exam itself. The very first thing you need to get your head around is that the CKS is a completely different beast compared to most IT certs. This isn't about what you know, it's about what you can do. This quote right here just nails it. Forget about memorizing endless facts and definitions. This exam throws you into the deep end and tests if you can actually secure a live cluster with the clock ticking. It's the real deal. I mean, the difference is night and day. There are no multiple choice questions to guess on. The CKS exam drops you into a live command line environment for 2 hours straight. Your job? Fix 15 to 20 real-world security scenarios. That means you need to be fast, you need to be accurate, and you need to know kubectl like the back of your hand. So to pass the CKS, you've got to master 6 key areas of Kubernetes security. You can think of these as the territories you have to completely own to win. Let's run through them real quick. First up, you've got cluster setup, which is all about locking down the control plane from the get-go. Then there's cluster hardening, where you tighten up permissions. After that is system hardening, securing the nodes themselves. Then you've got minimizing microservice vulnerabilities, supply chain security for your container images, and finally, monitoring, logging, and runtime security, which is all about spotting threats in real time. It's the whole shebang. Let's zoom in on cluster hardening for a second, because it's a big one. This is all about shrinking the attack surface of your entire cluster. And why does that matter? Well, because this is how small mistakes turn into massive security disasters. This domain tests if you know how to lock things down tight. And just as important is system hardening. You got to remember, Kubernetes doesn't just float in the cloud, right? It runs on actual host operating systems. If an attacker gets a foothold on just one of those nodes, your whole cluster could be toast. This is about securing the very foundation everything is built on. Okay, enough theory. Let's see what these challenges actually feel like. We're going to walk through 3 sample questions from a practice simulator, so you can really get a feel for the kind of hands-on work the CKS demands. So our first question here is a classic. It deals with one of the most fundamental security objects in Kubernetes, the service account. You're definitely going to see tasks like this. So here's the mission. You need to create a service account, give it just enough permission to list pods, spin up a new pod, and then tie the two together. On the exam, you'd be in a terminal, banging out YAML files and running kubectl commands to make all this happen. And then you'd have to prove it actually works. Now, in a practice simulator, you might just see a simple check mark next to A. But on the real exam, there are no multiple choice answers. It's binary. Either your configuration works exactly as requested or it doesn't. It's all about that execution. Okay, let's ramp up the complexity. This next one isn't about creating something new. It's about hunting down and fixing security problems that already exist across a bunch of different core Kubernetes parts. Whoa, okay, so this task is way more involved. You have to go digging into the actual configuration files for the API server, the kubelet running on each node, and even etcd, the brain of the cluster. This question tests your deep knowledge of how the control plane actually works. Passing a question like this has nothing to do with choosing A. It's about knowing exactly where those config files are, how to edit them without breaking the entire cluster, and how to restart services to apply your changes, all while that clock is ticking down. No pressure, right? For our last example, let's look at a more advanced security control, pod security policies, or PSPs. This is all about setting rules so that insecure workloads can't even be created in the first place. Now, this is a multi-step dance. You're not just creating one thing. You have to build 4 separate but connected Kubernetes objects: the policy, a service account, a cluster role to use the policy, and a cluster role binding to connect it all. It's a perfect example of how all these security pieces have to work together. So these 3 questions really show you the truth about the CKS exam. Success is all about muscle memory. You have to have done these tasks so many times that you can just fly through them accurately when you're under pressure. And that's why hands-on practice isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely non-negotiable. Okay, so we've established that hands-on practice is everything. The next logical question is, how do you get that practice? How do you build up the kind of muscle memory you need for an exam this demanding?
Well, because it's a performance-based exam, you need a performance-based prep tool. It's that simple. The practice questions we just looked at, they come from certificationexam.com, a platform built from the ground up for exactly this kind of hands-on challenge.
The whole approach follows this really clear three-step path. First, you use the study guide to build your foundation across those 6 domains. Then, and this is the most important part, you jump into the web simulator. This is where you build that critical muscle memory with timed labs that feel just like the real exam. And finally, you can use the mobile app to keep those concepts fresh in your head wherever you are. So there you have it. We've looked at the exam's unique format, the domains you've got to master, and the hands-on skills it demands. You've seen what it takes to secure a Kubernetes cluster. The only question left is, are you ready to prove it?